what is the overall effect of foreign aid on economic development in Pakistan?
I think we can get into this question of, does aid bring benefits? Does it bring costs? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Aid is. Countries do not provide aid purely out of the desire to address poverty. Countries provide aid for all kinds of reasons, including geopolitical concerns, the domestic political drivers. Aid is part of the global economy, and it's going to remain it. I think the question for Pakistan, and the questions for all countries receiving aid, is what do you do with that aid? You've got lots of studies showing negative impacts of aid. You've got lots of studies showing positive impacts of aid. But the consensus in the international literature, insofar as there is one, is that aid has a positive impact when the recipient country has a program and can mobilize aid behind that program. Also, political economy effects of aid that can be very negative. If aid is coming in and it is propping up a government that is not interested in the development of its people, if it's not interested in long-term development, then aid creates moral hazard. It is prolonging and protecting a government or a regime that is not interested in long-term development. And there's certainly examples of that happening internationally.
हम 27 या 28 दफा IMF के पास गए, डॉक्टर के पास, बाकी भी जाते हैं, ये नहीं कि नहीं जाते, बट डॉक्टर के पास जितना कम जाएंगे उतना बेहतर होता है। और जब डॉक्टर के पास आप जाते हैं तो फिर डॉक्टर की प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपको फॉलो करनी पड़ती है, वरना आपकी बीमारी दूर नहीं होती। हम क्या करते हैं, 2 एंटीबायोटिक गोलियां खा के 14 दिन का कोर्स छोड़ देते हैं कि नहीं वो खुद ठीक हो जाएगा, या हकीम के पास चले जाते हैं।
In Pakistan, the problem is that we are lacking a government that enforces the discipline that is needed on donors. We want to hear what the country needs, not just what the politicians tell us. We want to hear from you how we can do better. The problems in Pakistan are about governance and institutions and elite capture. And the international experience has been very clear that aid works best when government determines its own development vision, and then it comes to the donors and it says, you help us. We want you to do this. We're not going to let you push us around. We're not going to let you tell us what to do. We know what we want to do. You tell us how you're going to help us, and if you can't help us, we don't want you. Pakistan needs to be in the position of strength where it can say that to its donors, where it can tell its donors, we want your help, but we don't want you if you're not going to get behind our development vision.
Overall, हमने देखा कि 1947 to date, about $160 billion हमने loans में लिए और about $20 billion हमें aid और grants में मिला. और interestingly, जब हमने देखा कि 1951 से 2011 तक US पाकिस्तान $67 billion. इसमें military भी है, सब कुछ है. और mostly जो recent period था 2002 से 2010 तक, उसमें यूएस पाकिस्तान में ऑलमोस्ट $19 बिलियन आए थे। हमारा डेट क्यों बढ़ा है? 21% हमारा डेट जो है वो कमर्शियल बैंक से है, जो आपका लिहाज नहीं करते। 41% आपका बायलैटरल पार्टनर्स से है और 48% मल्टीलैटरल वर्ल्ड बैंक और एशियन डेवलपमेंट बैंक से है। सो हम क्यों ये एड ले रहे हैं, हम क्यों ये असिस्टेंस ले रहे हैं? क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ 3 या 4 गैप्स हैं। पहले सेविंग्स गैप और फॉरेन एक्सचेंज गैप होता था या रिजर्व्स गैप होता था कि आपके पास सेविंग्स नहीं है या डोमेस्टिक रिसोर्सेज नहीं है या आपके पास फॉरेन एक्सचेंज नहीं है, तो उस गैप को पूरा करने के लिए आप बाहर से लेते हैं। और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट गैप है, जो इकोनॉमिस्ट साहिबान यहाँ बैठे हैं, वो हमारा फिस्कल कंस्ट्रेंट या बजट डेफिसिट गैप है, और ये हमारा एक्सपेंडिचर और रेवेन्यू पे बेस्ड। और सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमारा एक्सपेंडिचर ऑलमोस्ट $75 बिलियन है सालाना और हमारा रेवेन्यू $45 बिलियन है। तो $30 बिलियन का गैप जो हमारा अपना है, उसको हम बाहर से भरते हैं।
Government is the largest spender in this country. There are pros and cons of that. Mostly cons. Government is not an efficient spender of the money. All the donors' money put together is still, I think, less than 10% of our budget, which is not huge. और बहुत सारी जो development assistance का पैसा जाता है, वो उन projects में जाता है जो government खुद decide करती है when the annual development plans are being developed, when line departments think about how budgets are going to be presented. तो इसलिए सिर्फ डोनर को ब्लेम करना या डोनर बैशिंग इज आई थिंक जस्ट वन पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी. Although I agree that we do become a part of the problem, but a lot of the problem is driven by lack of capacity on government side.
Pakistan's PSDP projects, both at the federal and provincial levels, are heavily dependent upon foreign financing. Over the last decade, foreign financing component averages around 30% in federal PSDP projects, but that component rarely materializes in time, leading to project delays, especially mega projects They also reflect a high dependency at federal and provincial level on foreign financing.
There has been a lot of mention of poverty in this country. I think the poverty that we suffer from is poverty of thought, and that is the indigenous poverty of thought.